What was it like working with Tyrone Power? I crack myself up sometimes, but anyway.
Well, let me tell you, just as an addendum to we were talking about Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is one of the producers of Nightmare on Elm Street 3 and I are going to be working for a few days next week together in Kentucky. So
cool.
Who knew, right?
Well, you never know. So if you piss the wrong person off, you might not have those opportunities, right?
This is what I'm saying. Now, why don't you tell us the film that we're doing right now?
Okay, a couple weeks ago we did Nightmare Alley. Guillermo del Toro directed it.
Right.
Bradley Cooper's in it. All the bells and whistles and all that. It's a remake. This is actually the original movie, which is from a book of the same title, of course. But this has Tyrone Power, who's very charming. But I didn't know much about Tyrone Power. I looked up his career and I was like, I don't think I've seen any of his movies. Maybe one. And then I didn't realize he died of a heart attack at 44, like on the set.
Yeah, he died young.
He died on a set in Spain, I guess it was.
Yeah, and I think that he was also in World War II.
I think he was, yeah. Because most of his stuff was right after the war.
He was like a grunt in World War II, you know?
But I found it pretty... I was impressed by him. I hadn't really seen him in anything, and I was like, okay, he has a lot of charisma, and he's carrying this movie on his shoulders, basically.
Yeah, he is actually completely carrying this movie.
Yeah.
You know, I even noticed that there are not a lot of secondary characters that are anywhere near his status. But I'm gonna throw.
There's
this
always
out.
a but. When you're talking about actors, there's always a but.
Here's the point. Here's the thing: is even in his world, in this world, he is above everybody else until he isn't.
Yeah, no, that's actually a good point because that's what the whole story's about. It's about.
It is literally. I mean, it is the story of a cycle of a guy that is a con man.
Yeah, this how you deceive everybody, and then where that could end up.
Yeah, and then eventually, when the rubber meets the road. You become a skid mark,
Yeah. I thought this was actually... I thought the story was better woven than the remake was.
I thought it was too.
More interesting. And it was a little darker. It seemed like, for me, for a 1947 movie, it didn't seem kind of dark. Like, I mean...
Well, you know what he also... The thing is also the women in the most recent one were more important than they were in this one. Guillermo del Toro, the women were a lot stronger than they are in this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
you have like,
I'll be a good wife to you. Come on, I'll do anything you want.
That's right. And the problem is that it seems very
dated. Is it dated?
What's
happening?
How was that?
I don't know, but she was screaming at me.
Yeah, she was right in your ear. So
well, no. So it showed that that character, the girl that went with him to the big city, whatever. She started off weak, but then at the end she was pretty strong. Like she.
Right. Well, not only, but this is what I was going to point out is that she. I mean, both characters, the Molly in both of these, right, does the one turn away, right, and says, I'm forget you, and da da da. What I do like about this one is that there's a little bit of a redemption at the very, very end, which I thought was kind of sweet, Which of course Guillermo del Toro didn't do that.
No.
He just let the guys twisting in the wind.
Yeah, this had a better ending. Well, for 1947 ending for sure.
Yeah, no.
But I just thought the whole thing was dark up until that point. Actually, like it was. This
Well,
is
that's what I'm saying
1947. I'm like, okay.
The other one kind of got lightened light and airy in the middle,
Right.
and then just dived you in at the very end and left you as a geek.
And I did like how some of the story was different here. In this one, it was a little different. His relationships with certain women, it was a lot different.
Right. Yeah. And the death of a certain character.
Yeah.
That was part of the darkness.
That was so different. Yeah.
That was part of the darkness, was the death of that character being on his, working. It's because there was no weakness in that character in Guillermo del Toro's until he completely fell apart at the end.
Right.
In this one, he carried a weakness with him that kept coming out in, the dreams and how he sleeps and all the rest of that.
So I think that made it better because it was more.
I think it did. I
suspense.
think that it didn't make it so cut and dried. I also have to say that this was a really well done film.
Yeah. No. Absolutely.
It is shot beautifully.
And I would never have watched this if it wasn't for Guillermo del Toro's remake.
Right. You know what? And it's a funny thing. I got to thinking that. I thought I would never have seen this if it wasn't for Guillermo del Toro. And yet the richness of, it was a black and white film. And
it's really not like I said it was dated as far as the way the sexes are treated, but I think it's not dated as far as story or how it's shot. It's really well done.
It's gorgeous. Well, one thing that I've always noticed about black and white film is that black and white film, when it's done right, when the lighting is right, when when they were using good stock and all the rest of that, they only had a very thin. The film is actually thinner than color film because it doesn't have to represent 3 different tones. Okay, so because of that, the very thinness of the film and the fact that it only has to represent 2 tones,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it makes it
2 tones in every shade in between.
Yeah.
Contrast. Yeah. Well, behind me, there's a whole bunch of contrast right there.
Just look at behind you. Look at how incredibly crisp and yeah.
Oh, whoops! Wait, wrong way.
And I'm not sure. And this is a perfect example of that. This film had such depth in the circus stuff.
No,
right?
Absolutely.
Of course, I have to say is the rest of the circus stuff in Guillermo del Toro's was beautiful, right? And
the geek was more interesting for sure.
Yeah, geek, well,
I don't even remember seeing the geek at the beginning. I was like, "Where is he?" I had to rewind it. I'm like, "Did I miss the geek?"
There wasn't a lot of geek.
No.
Right. There was. By the way, and let's go for the second thing. Because we saw the geek in Guillermo del Toro's in the very beginning, immediately you knew that the other guy was going to wind up being the geek, right?
Yes.
Instantly you went, oh, well, that like it's like if there was no doubt, all you had to do was look at the geek and look at him looking at the geek and go, oh, well, this is going to be a long drive, but we're going to get to the same place. Right?
It's like showing a close-up of a ring.
Right.
And then, it must be important for some reason.
And then ending the show on a marriage, right?
Yeah. Right.
At a wedding, right? That was exactly, I can't imagine. There was somebody I was talking to about this film, and he goes, well, I said, the problem that I saw, I remember what it was. There was some post somewhere on some films, and somebody posted that this film had a great ending, and I was like, or that Guillermo del Toro's version of this had a great ending, and I was like, yeah, well, except for you saw the ending then within the first 4 minutes of the film. you just saw the ending.
Yeah.
In this one, they were more careful about not connecting the geek all the way through.
Yeah. It was also, it's very clear that different acting styles,
Yeah.
are very clear too. It's like, so you
Yeah,
have to be comfortable with watching a movie from the 40s.
Well, see, and that's a trick, though. I mean, there is something about watching movies from the 40s, or even watching television from the 60s, right? And it's amazing. I'll tell you something that I noticed about television from the 60s, and this is going to blow your mind. But the most forward-thinking stuff that I saw, and I've been watching a lot of the 60s TV series and stuff, and probably one of the ones that has the best depiction of women would have to be the Addams Family and the Munsters.
Oh, I can see that. I can totally see that. Especially when we're talking about the daughter on the Munsters.
Yeah, but just the fact that they had different structures in their house. I mean, to this day, the talk that
what about
Herman gives to Eddie Munster?
Yes.
That talk that he gave about inclusion. To this day, you can play that, and it just rings just as true as you can imagine all the way across.
That's true. What about My Three Sons? That was a different setup.
Yeah. But if you really want to see, want to see the most sexist show you've ever seen, take a look at the one with the horse. Mr. Ed. Oh my God.
I used to love that when I was a kid just because I was fascinated by the horse talking.
I loved it when I was a kid. And then I thought, well, I'm going to go back and I'm going to watch some of them with my granddaughters and stuff. And I got through like one of them. I was going, I get it now.
Then there's My Mother the Car.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad too.
Yeah, pretty bad. I mean, they're and to me, I tell you, the best out of the whole bunch would have to be literally the Munsters is probably the best one.
Well, that's one of my favorite shows.
And
I love that show. I do.
I'm not a fan of the Munsters as much as I am of the Addams Family.
Really, I like Munsters. I would go with Munsters if I had a choice.
Yeah, see, and I would go. You know what? When you grow up, you're either Munsters or Addams Family.
I like Addams Family. It's kind of like how I feel about Star Wars and Star Trek. I won't say which one I like more, but I like them both. But I like one more.
Yeah. No, it's true. I like them both.
But I definitely like the Munsters more. I can say that.
Definitely, I'm an Addams Family. Yeah, definitely.
How could you not like Herman Munster?
And I'm you know what? And I'm also definitely a fan of Star Trek over Star Wars. But the problem is that Star Trek lately has become a therapy session.
Well, it kind of was already.
What the hell happened?
The new generation was kind of the start of the therapy sessions, I think, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, but have you watched Discovery lately?
I need to catch up on that.
It's oh my God! Wait until you do, and then you realize that they're all in therapy, and the great thing is that the guy that they're all going that's supposed to be the head shrink of the whole bunch is having his own problems, thinking that he needs therapy. He just doesn't know where to go.
Right. Well, no show is perfect. We're talking about sexism and stuff. I mean, I think Thing was a little handsy. Sorry.
Well.
I had that sitting on my brain. I had to get rid of it.
The thing is you watch shows like that when you're a kid, and the next thing is you grow up and you look like Cousin It.
But you do have a good point, though. If you look back at some of the shows, like I look back at some of the shows I used to watch, and I'm like, it's like, what did he just say?
Yeah.
Or...
Be really careful going back and looking at it. You go, oh, yeah. No, I get it now. I think to myself that I grew up in a family that had my mother was very strong, and she was a probation officer and all the rest of that, and had gone to college and was an artist, and at the same time, and I had barely realized this, but she was full grown in World War II, as was my dad. My dad was a pilot, and when you realize that while I was still in high school, that for her to get a credit card, she had to be co-signed by my father.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
And I remember her bringing this up at the time, and I had no idea what any of that meant, right? It changed in 74. So,
wow.
So like only a year later, I was like out of high school. So that's I just didn't, until you get down and you look at it and you go, man alive. That seems pretty screwed up.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think I've completely gotten off the track there.
Speaking of therapy sessions, how does Cousin It remind you of your mother? Because that was the last thing you said before.
Well, yeah, there you go.
Okay, so Star Trek. If you need therapy, watch Star Trek. If you want a good escape, watch this movie. I think people should watch this because I think it's one that I had no idea.
It is incredibly well done.
And it's like 3 years after, isn't it 3 years after World War II? Do I have my years right?
It's after World War II.
So if Tyrone Power was in the military, he probably literally just got back from the war, like right before he shot this.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, I think that this was done in 40. Was it 47 or?
It came out in 47. Yeah, so
came out in 47, right? So in 46, he had already gotten back and gone directly, to. He was. I think that he was a gunner in a plane.
Oh wow.
In one of the small planes, in a two-engine A-26 Marauder or something like that. Boy, yeah, I've tracked too many of these people lately. I'm always for some. You know what? I'm of the age. See this beard? See all that gray hair? Okay, that means immediately that you have a certain fascination for World War II.
Yeah, and that's why I made the mistake of thinking you worked with Tyrone Power, but no, you didn't work with him. You just studied him.
You know what? And you know what I want to say? I want to say fuck you for that.
Sorry. I mean, I have gray hair. You can't see it. Well, here we go. See? I have a little gray hair.
Yeah.
But that's because I was watching too many movies about World War II. I like all those John Wayne movies.
I have worked with a lot of, I worked with Phyllis Diller. I know.
That's awesome, though. I mean, that's awesome.
I worked with Phyllis Diller, who the thing that was really funny about her is she used to laugh all the time about the facelifts and stuff like that. And the thing is when I worked with her, and she was like pretty old, her hands literally looked like a raven's claws.
Was that on Tales from the Dark Side, or was that?
It was Tales from the Dark Side. Funny that you see, yeah. I mean,
well, Tales from the Dark Side had a lot of older actors on there, right?
Yeah, Larry Tenney. We had a lot of guys come through there that were like, old royalty and stuff.
You can't see that nowadays. You have to buy the Johnny Carson roast to see anybody that's.
Yeah, exactly.
Of any
name
or whatever.
No, Dean Martin did the roast.
Dean Martin roast, yes.
Dean Martin
roast.
Right. Yeah. Dean Martin did roast all the way up to. I think he was still doing them in the 80s, when he was doing nothing but doing a roast, and then he'd go back and he was fascinated with TV.
Wasn't he busy pissing off Jerry Lewis?
Well, the two of them were thrown together. So at some point in the 80s, there was like some guy that thought that he was going to make love between the two of them.
Yeah.
Invited the two of them onto live TV at the same time.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And it was at one.
Was it the telethon, or was it?
No, it wasn't the telethon. It was I can't remember it, but evidently the two of them were just frosty as hell to each other, and they never saw each other again after that. So
See, and that's another thing. I like all the Martin Lewis and stuff, all the Martin Lewis movies. I like all those cheesy movies they made,
yeah, never
like at the army and stuff like that.
I swear, for my entire
I like
life,
stupid things.
Jerry Lewis's just the sound of his voice to me is just
Hey, lady!
oh god.
See, I own the Nutty Professor. I have all those movies. I have the Bellboy. I have Cinderfella.
For some reason, him and Dick Van Dyke, were two guys that I just cannot.
See, it's funny. Those are two of my favorites.
Can't stand either one of them. I
think Vincent Price agrees with you. I like Dick Van Dyke and Jerry Lewis.
Yeah, there you go. So you gonna rate this movie?
I'm gonna rate this movie. Oh, it's a hard one. What did I rate the other one, the remake? Because I want to rate this more.
I don't know. Wait,
I said it was average. It was like a 3.
We were pretty average. We were pretty average on the other one.
I give us a pretty good rating. It's a pretty solid movie. I don't think it blew me away, but I think.
I'm saying a 3.8. I liked it a whole lot. I liked it. I gotta tell you, I liked it a lot more than I liked the new one. It's Guillermo did a great job of the circus, but for the rest of it, this one just kind of kills it.
Exactly. No, I think I'm gonna give this a 3.9 just because I feel bad that the actor died when he was only 44, and I'm older than that, so I feel old now.
Yeah. Makes you feel weird sometimes, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's like, should I be more careful?
It's like I'm getting to the age where there's a magic number that you have to look out for. Evidently, it's 69. Because 69.
I was looking for that my whole life when I was a young lad.
Yeah. But
is it real? Is it real?
No. Stay away from it, because you're going to join the David Bowie, Tom Petty, Heartbreakers tour.
Well, if you just breeze on past
in
it,
heaven.
You got to be like Mick Jagger and just keep going.
Well, or just be like Keith Richards and get so high that you pickle yourself. Thing is that. If you go with the Keith Richards thing, you had to have started early.
Yes.
I mean, you had to have been pickled at 18, formaldehyde by 30. You have to be way deep in there.
I think I would go with the Betty White or the George Burns approach. Just be funny all the time.
Well, that's true.
Betty White, I don't know. I think she might have done some witchcraft or something because she looked really good when she was older. So, no, but I would take the George Burns approach. Just be really funny and be chill. He was a pretty chill guy. Smoked a lot of cigars. That's probably what saved his life was the cigars.
Yeah, he went to his wife's tomb every day and put his hand on her breast. On her breast.
If you're into radio shows, by the way,
on her breast.
If you're into old radio shows and you haven't heard Burns and Allen, you have to check it out.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
But some of the jokes are kind of corny. But I mean, you listen to our show, so
yeah, you're listening to us, so you have absolutely no taste.